To Squishy, yeah, here you go. Hello, welcome to SquishiVision, where I'm about to give my reactions on the official teaser trailer, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's our first look at the latest in Mission Impossible series. I have a lot of trailers to get through tonight, so I'm gonna not do much build up. I mean, not that this franchise needs much build up. It's kind of one of the most built up franchises that there is. But I'm a big fan of Mission Impossible series. I got into it rather late. I didn't start watching the films until I think after Fallout came out. I kind of watched them all one by one, and then I think in anticipation of watching. Ooh, good question actually. I think Fallout was actually the first ones I saw in cinema. So actually, I think the last one was actually the only one I actually seen in cinema. The rest of them, um, I hadn't watched them release, so I was rather late to the series. But I quickly became a massive fan. It you know, as a series, it's just like pure. It does action, but it doesn't do. What am I selling my series to you? You can know how great it is, and Mission Impossible Fallout was one of the best action films of all time. It encompassed everything that you needed to do action. Set pieces were like phenomenal but grounded, and I think that was what made it so great. Um, so yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Why not? This is the first. This is the Mission Impossible series has this interesting thing where it was very much an anthology in terms of there was a kind of carousel of different directors who would bring their own kind of take on it. But for the last couple of films, they seem to have become more safe and fall back on the kind of Christopher McCurry Tom Cruise partnership. But I can't complain because it's produced some really good films. And then this seems to be going even further, and we're getting the first two-parter in the series, which is a bit odd because really for the last couple of films they've kind of already been very continuous. I don't really think they needed to put a part one on it. They could have just had two different names and had them led straight into each other, and no one would have noticed difference. But that's a nitpick. Uh, let's bounce straight into this, shall we? Pick up my mouse. Oh, happy 10 years birthday, Sky Dance.
Your days of fighting for the so-called greater good are over. This is our chance to control the truth, the concepts of right and wrong for everyone for centuries to come. You're fighting to save an ideal that doesn't exist. Never did. You need to pick a side.
Well, that was an intense trailer. I forgot that. Can I find his face in one of these shortcuts? Apparently not. This is pausing Tom Cruise running because that captures the series quite in a good way. I forgot Kittredge was back in this, but I already knew about it because I saw the cast announcement. Which is really great because a lot of people forget on the earlier Mission Impossible films, especially the first one, because it's so like different in terms of the format and tone of the film, because that's much more spy thriller than we get in the later films, which is much more action driven. But one of my favorite cinematic dialogues is the first bit between Kittredge and Hunt, and they use the Dutch angle, and I really hope they bring back the Dutch angle as a kind of a homage to that, and the kind of their discussion, the way they're kind of trying to work each other out. So I'm so glad I brought Kittredge back. The actor has kind of aged fairly well. He's very recognizable as Kittredge. Which is great because for me, the audience is like, "Oh, I know where this is from," and I think that scene they sat on opposite sides because it was Tom Cruise on the left and Kittredge on the right. So it's interesting they've swapped them around there. And once again, his job, and the actor is in this trailer. The actor is doing a great job in kind of being a very ominous presence, asking Tom Cruise, Hunt, well, same person really, to pick a side. So gosh, that was great. And we see a whole bunch of characters doing a whole bunch of kind of action stuff, and it's just so great, and it's just so intense. A lot more returning characters than we've ever seen before, but also some new characters. So let's just scrub through this, shall we, and see what we can pick out in about the next couple of 5 minutes before I got to go off and do some errands and then come back. I think I've got 3 trailers to react to, but let's get back into this. I also like how the entire film is kind of a very slow, somber Mission Impossible theme where we get like pretty much absolutely no um diegetic noise from the trailer. I think that's so ominous. I love that. There we are, Kid Rich back in the flesh in a very kind of washed out scene. So it's interesting. It's very much, the lights are quite bright, the characters are quite washed out, a lot of flare. Cinematography, just to say here, because I don't have time to keep pausing throughout the thing. Cinematography in this trailer is fantastic. I mean, the cinematography of the Mission Impossible films is really intense, but the cinematography in this trailer is just like the lighting is just so good. The way the characters are lit and shot is so I just love it. So I guess in that shot, we see the can I pause it? That seems to be one of the MacGuffins, that kind of crucifix key, that I bet is probably going to be playing the role going after. This is, of course, I should have had the cast list up and the characters names up because I'm really great at remembering the names of people and then like forgetting about them like almost straight away. And I grab it on my phone. Yeah, passing it. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Let's grab up the cast list. Okay, so that's Rebecca Ferguson retelling as Isla Faust. Not seemingly in a very not a good fashion. So this is also where the kind of the intensity comes from. It's like in this show, in this film, you generally don't know who's gonna live, who's gonna die. I mean, they've teased character deaths for like a long time, and then like no one's really of importance has kind of died. I don't think. I mean, the first film did this amazing thing where in the opening you thought you had the cast of the film, and then they killed them all off, and that was like for the time quite a shock, quite a twist, an opening twist. And then after that, most of the characters, the good guy characters, have kind of survived, or they've been one-off castings in the like stunt castings in the opening that have died quite straight away. So I wonder if they're going to raise the stakes here. We're going to get a character death finally. Um, so that seems to be one. Oh, never pause on time. That seems to be one of the kind of villains. I think we see later on. And here we see Haley Atwell of MCU fame. And this is the first time I've ever seen her. Actually, no, I lie. I think I saw her play a character in that Winnie the Pooh film. But other than that, here she's playing a character called Grace, who appears to be a new addition, but quite prominently placed. She has a lot of scenes with Tom Cruise. This appears to be like this is an airport. I recognize kind of distinct airport things. And then also that character is Vanessa Kirby returning as Lana Mitsopolis, who was established as the daughter of Max from the first film. So we get a lot of kind of returning characters here. I wonder if Tom Cruise never revealed his connection to Max in the last film, so I wonder if we're going to get that in here. But she seems to play a bigger role returning as a character here. It's unclear whose side she's on, but she's in here much more prominently. Simon Pegg's back, and I always love what they do with Simon Pegg's character. I really hope that he gets a lot more action pieces to do because he's actually quite a good action character. And I like the whole thing of, a nerdy character who's forced to do more action things gets that kind of progression between actually being much more capable spy. I mean, he's a spy. He is part of Mission Impossible. You figure he should have some kind of good fight parts, really. So, and he's a fantastic actor. Like, I love watching Simon Pegg, and like you can just see it in his face here. The kind of the passion and intensity he brings to a role. We also, of course, have Ving Rhames back as Luther Stickle, the other kind of one of the longer lasting members of the franchise. So, and always bringing the right gravitas. So she's wearing an eye patch. So I really hope nothing bad happens to her eye. Oh, nothing gory. As someone who has like disabled eyes, like my eyes require lubrication. They get dry very easily, and there's a large high risk of them like drying out and making them blind, which I'm absolutely terrified of. I'm very sensitive to eye gore, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen to her. Another prominent shot of Vanessa Kirby. For an actor who hasn't played this character in over about 50, 25, about a quarter of a century. Wow, long time. I don't know if it's just because he plays similar character types, so he doesn't have to do much kind of readaptation, but he really much captures the cadence and tone of the character he played 25 years ago. Like literally, I'm not seeing the actor here. I haven't seen anything else, and maybe that's helpful. But I'm very much seeing Kittredge. So some action scenes again, no didactic noises. We see Kittredge in probably some action bits as well. I think that's quite impressive. A lot of kind of car sequences. I'm trying to talk a few things out and pause it. Although of so yeah, free from the kind of the from having to, I guess, be faithful to his wife, who he's never actually divorced, I don't think. He's now able to kind of, I guess, embrace more of his feelings for Ilsa, so I guess we're gonna see more of that. Yay. I'm not fond of romance in films. This is a general kind of thing, so I'm not really big on that. But again, a lot of kind of landscapes, definitely using big on location shoots, definitely using the kind of natural lighting and the natural kind of environment. Again, a lot of action things from a lot of characters. This is another person who is clearly thinking quite an intense scene there. It's definitely kind of a lot of car chase sequences here, which are probably all filmed. They look impressive because they're probably all filmed in actuality, because that's what this film does. And Tom Cruise is running like he always does. That train sequence seems to pay a lot of homage to the train sequence in the first film. A lot of films like to pay homage to things happening in earlier films. Like the last film had a lot of like stuff which happened in early films, and we're having another train sequence there. The train sequence in the first film was, I think, the weakest point because it looks it's so obviously dated, especially considering all the practical stuff they do now. So I'm kind of glad they're kind of reproaching it. Maybe it look better now than it did then. And then we get this one of the big stunts that's kind of been released in the press of a train being launched off a bridge. I think it's filmed in Britain actually. So I wonder what the context behind that is. More running from Tom Cruise. Well, bicycle stuff from Tom Cruise. Oh yeah, and then Tom Cruise jumping off, which is probably happened, which is something he probably actually did. Although I imagine they probably didn't actually drop a motorcycle because that seems like it would damage the environment. Okay, well I've got to go, so I'll quickly wrap off. Yeah, I mean, woof, that was definitely something I'm feeling intense on. This is really the teasers. We're gonna get more trailers coming down. Which is gonna be reveal more of the plot, but yeah, it definitely feels like it's building on what we've previously seen, but also using the fact that we're having a lot of returning crew and cast to kind of tell more a story that's more kind of continuous. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Mission Impossible teaser. I'm gonna come back in about half an hour's time to react to some other teasers. So stick around for that. Yeah, I'll see you in a bit.